So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are dialing in and join us today live on LinkedIn. And welcome to the series of Authenticity and Inclusivity, where we are doing this new series for a couple of weeks now, and it's based on personality traits and saboteur, the concept from positive intelligence. Of course, if you're joining us live, please, we will appreciate a hello or a hi in the chat, a thumbs up, so we can kind of know you are there because we can't see you. And any questions, just put it there and we'll come back to you shortly. And welcome again. I'm Aries, your host for today, and I have my lovely, lovely guest, Lucie, here with me. Today we're going to jump in straight into hyper rational. I think we started with an introduction and we talk about avoider, and we talk about controller, and after controller, what we talk about? Hyper achiever.
Yes.
Then we're going to talk about hyper rational and how that work together with your personality traits, or rather say your preference, your kind of core preference. Of course, we can adapt our behavior, don't we? We are all
absolutely.
Yeah. Human species are very adaptable, so we do adapt our behavior. But I just want to say that as a core behavior, what will happen together with a hyper rational kind of preference, or we are taught to be. So Lucie, where should we start then?
I wonder if we should start a little bit about what is the hyper-rational tendency of the saboteur? How can the saboteur hijack it? What does it mean even when we are hijacked by the hyper-rational?
That's a good one. Okay. For hyper-rational, I think the so-called definition is about very intensive, exclusive focus of being rational on everything, literally everything, including relationship. Yeah, relationship. We normally not so rational. Actually, human beings are not a rational creature, but very rational. Is good, especially when it comes to work, right? I mean, you don't want to jump to emotion and say, "Oh, I feel this," but when you stay on rational, I kind of see rational and objective kind of link up. So we're trying to stay objective rather than saying that, oh, let's get too personal. So that is good in that sense. Yeah. I was thinking about, when we first did that 9 square thing, the hyper rational come from the need of security, because I don't want to get personal, because there's mushy and touchy stuff, and then people get upset, and then I get upset. I don't know how to handle. Let's stay on track, just being rational. And I think there's need for security, and the style is avoid. So let's just be rational.
So kind of it comes, I'm hearing, as a self-defense mechanism, like when there are some intense emotion in their environment, maybe it's like, let's just stay rational, let's just focus here on the data, on the facts, instead of let's not getting emotional, maybe. So kind of really could come up in the past as a great strategy in some chaotic emotional situations. But however, when it's being applied in all the situations, especially in personal relationships, could be seen as cold, arrogant. So what is the impact in the relationship when you're dealing with a person that seems cold, closed off, never says anything what they're feeling? That could be the extreme. That's when actually we are hijacked by the hyper-rational, when it damages our relationships, our well-being, because we are not processing the emotions. We even sometimes don't know what are the emotions. We don't even want to deal with it. And performance. What would you say could be the impact in general, before we go to the specifics on the performance, when hijacked by the hyper-rational that applies the rational mind to all the situations, all the time? How it could be damaging for performance at work?
I mean, the most obvious word that come to me is more relationship. Oh yeah, performance. I feel, okay, they're saying that the greatest assets of any organization is actually the people, right? So if we stay on the rational track, I mean, it meant to be good because we don't want to get personal and people get hurt or whatever. So we stay on the rational track. But the thing is, because of being that, you might appear cold, distant, or even intellectually arrogant. So what will people be? Yeah, I know you're being rational. You don't want to talk about all this emotional meshy stuff. I understand that. But it doesn't sit very well with most people. Myself, I feel that if I talk to somebody who is like emotionless, then I might as well talk to the AI, to the machine. Why is that different? Maybe in the future, AI can have some emotion.
We'll have robots.
Yeah. I mean, what makes one person unique or authentic for another person? Of course, it's not just your personality traits. There's the emotion, there's a preference, there's the energy, there's whatever that is that make us real, right? So if you're all talking in that monotonous mode, we should not get emotional. Let's talk about this. This is what are we gonna do here? Everything is on that basis.
I would fall asleep with a presentation like that. So sounds like engagement on the team might drop if they have a leader like that. It sounds like trust and feeling they might not feel cared about. And when they don't feel cared about, then they're like, why should I do that? The boss doesn't care about me. They don't care what I'm going through. So why should I care? Like, so it's like the kind of resignation at work.
It's really about the care. I think to be really a good leader, inspiring leader, it's not only that you can have the objective and rational, but really to have the empathy, to understand where your people is coming from and able to sit down and listen to them. Of course, doesn't mean that you must be all mushy and say, oh yeah, I hear you. I mean, not to the extreme extent, but it's like listen with empathy and have a reflective kind of listening rather than, oh yeah, I hear what you're saying. Let's get back to work. Yeah, I hear, how does this relate to work? You know, everything is like work and task.
Because it's safe in a way, but it's actually not the best strategy, not the wisest strategy.
Right? It's kind of avoiding the
avoiding. Yeah, it's like the ostrich putting the head in the sand. Even though it may not seem like it, in reality, actually, they cannot see. So the emotional intelligence comes to mind. So when they suppress and they don't want to deal with the emotions, they actually lose a big chunk of what makes people productive, of what makes people passionate about their job and perform better, improve their relationships. And there've been multiple studies and more and coming out about the power of emotional intelligence when they're leaders high on emotional intelligence, that they are actually the characteristic of high performer leader and their team is when they're high on emotional intelligence. 90% of high performers are high also on the emotional intelligence. And so that is awareness of our own emotions, awareness of other people's emotions, and being able to navigate both self-regulating and others, support them in their own emotional regulation in a way. So if that's missing, that actually really harms all three aspects: well-being, relationships, performance.
You know, as you're saying about this whole EQ thing, right? You know, in the past, I would say maybe 3 decades or beyond, people always look at IQ. I need to have a good IQ. The IQ means how well perform, how smart I am, how many degrees I have, whatever. And then over the last, I think 20 to 30 years, there's this change of dynamic. Yeah, IQ is good, but EQ is better.
Yeah, I mean, both are important. So not just like we need to have the solid rational mind to be able to function at work. We need to remember, we need to analyze, it's great. But if it's in overdrive, it's like the hyper rational, it needs to be balanced, both the rational mind and the emotional mind.
Yeah. You know, the thing about this hyper rational is about being private, and they didn't want to let people into their inner feeling, which is meaning that I see someone with high EQ are generally able to handle the emotional side very well, and they're probably able to show up in that so-called authentic self and allow people to see their strength as well as a weakness. But the rational, this hyper rational is like, you can only see my strength. Weakness is I sweep it under the carpet. It's just too embarrassing. It's what a shame, right? Not realizing that
Exactly.
actually strength is good. Weakness is not about being bad. It's about being human.
But for them, it's like it's weakness. I cannot admit it because they're or when they don't know something, because their self-worth is attached to knowledge, being knowledgeable. So if they don't know anything, it's very hard for them to admit if they are in the hyper rational. Could be for some people.
Yeah.
Because as you mentioned, there could be the shame.
Yeah. And we're talking about this. I think we should start looking at the 4 personality traits.
Let's do it.
About D. I feel is that all this saboteur that we're looking on, except the first one, avoider, right? This D dominance have a lot of similar kind of behavior and traits, because D is very go to the
focused.
point. Yeah, very focused, very direct,
Driven.
And get to the point. And they are also very task driven. So that means they are less people focused in the sense. Because to them, it's like, it's important to get work job. So why you want to talk about people? It's like, okay, we doesn't mean they cannot have a good conversation. They cannot go deep with you, but a D is really more focused on big picture and getting things done, which is why I say it's driven, it's very dominant, and I see some similarity there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree. They might not be necessary. It depends. I guess if they are high on emotional intelligence, they're probably less prone to being hijacked. But if they are not very comfortable with emotions, then if they are very high on D and less on the other ones, then they might be more prone to the hijacks, and they might be maybe upset with others when they are being upset, or irritated when people even interrupt them in the office. Like, I gotta focus, let's just get it done while you're talking about this emotional stuff. Let's just stay on the task. What comes up for you?
Sorry, I'm a little bit hijacked because I was tapping in and saying hello everybody if they have questions.
All good. And John is there. Hi, John.
I'm just thinking, is there, other than what I'm kind of seeing, there's a lot of that actually all of this we are seeing, right? It's not talking about even when we say personality traits, we're not talking that this is who you are in the core, but rather in terms of that explicit behavior that we are seeing. So we have a preference to look at big picture than like go into details, and they like to be more so-called task orientated. Yes, thank you, Ali. Very true, Lucie. Yeah. So I would see this rational, hyper rational is also very task driven and away from the people. So that's what I see. I'm just wondering, do you see anything that make them go as a kind of different?
Yeah, it's very similar. Let me see if there's any difference. Focusing on the tasks, driven on the rational. Yeah, there were lots of similarities.
Yeah, I feel there's a lot of similarity in them, right? Because they don't go so much into feelings. It's about getting things done. So I see a lot of similarity. So I'm just thinking, go ahead.
Even in the relationships, when you mentioned at the beginning that they're looking at the relationships more rationally. I wonder, in reality, what does it look like to look at relationships rationally?
I'm not going to mention him, okay?
What came up for you?
Okay. I know somebody very close in relation to me say this to me, and I know he is a D. So he kind of tell me the reason why he chose his current wife, and they have a good marriage, right? They have a perfect match. But he's like very clear, I choose her because she's like this kind of thing, and I know you're going to match with me. So sound to me is like, I mean, there's feeling, of course, he
So
loves
that's
her.
very rational.
But it's very rational. Okay, I'm with you because you kind of like, okay, you are very gentle, you are whatever kind of thing, that's like this thing in his
Checks
mind.
all the boxes in a way.
So when he tells me
You
that,
check all my boxes.
this is a
So
conversation
romantic.
that happened 30 years ago. It's so long, but I can still remember because I was so shocked when he said, it's not that I was just so shocked that he can kind of able to identify and define exactly, because in a relationship sometimes it can be quite difficult to say, oh, I love her because of this. Okay, sometimes you can say, but he can be very clear. Oh, I love her because of A, B, C, D. Like, wow.
Wow.
So I
So
was like, oh,
that's
wow.
a great example of how they can be rational in relationships. So looking at the characteristics of people, analyzing it, what they are, how does it fit, what works for me.
There is a question here. I'm not sure whether I fully understand.
Oh.
Alice, imagine putting a big picture visionary person in the same thing as a detail-orientated, restless kind of personality. Is it a useful thing or counterproductive? I could try this. So Ali, let me know whether I kind of understand your question. So you're saying that in a team that there are two, let's say there's two different personality. One is a big picture person, one's a very detail oriented person, right? And then on top of that, yes, I will share one here. So is it generally as a team, unless your kind of work is very specific that you only look for certain kind of traits, it's good to have different personality traits. Reason, because my shortcoming will be your strength. Likewise, your strength will be my shortcoming. So we kind of able to support
Balance.
one another. Yeah. So because I'm strong in this, I will do this, but you're weak in this, you'll do this. Just like diversity. Why want diversity? Because we are different, and that's why we have diverse idea. So when I have a big picture, I paint my big picture for you, even though you don't really like it, but you can see, then you can tie back to a detail. I don't really like doing detail, so he's good. He will get it done. So we are the best team. So that's how I see it. So I think that in a team, you should have diverse. Everyone is different. That's why you play to your strength. That's how I see it. Would that answer your question, Ali? Yeah. Lucie, you want to know anything?
Yeah, and I would say it comes also together with the emotional intelligence. If people are not self-aware or having compassion, empathy for others, that's when the conflict can happen, because they don't respect each other's differences. So they're like, can you just, see the detail, or can you just focus on the big picture? You cannot see the big picture. What's wrong with you, right? That could be people, let's say, judgmental, lower on the emotional intelligence. If they are higher up, then they actually can collaborate and create it as a strength. Well, your strength is focusing on the detail. Perfect. I'm getting overwhelmed with a lot of detail. So I'm probably not the best person to be doing accounting here. So like 5, 9, who cares? Too much detail. So kind of joking here, but so they can kind of allocate the resources properly. What's somebody's strength? Let's say one person can do the budgeting, let's say in a project. The other one can do more strategic planning, looking at the bigger picture. The other person can do more like a task, break it down into smaller detail. So they can really, if they tap into their strengths and differences, instead of judging them, actually looking at how can we make this work together, I think then that's what makes the difference.
As you were saying, what come to mind is, I mean, we probably won't have time to go into that. It's actually more on the stage, right? When people are different, we have our own core way of doing things, our own preference of doing way, what makes us diverse. And I think what brings us together to see my weakness is your strength. It's actually the stage. It's like, it's okay. I don't have to be perfect in everything. I'm not very good in this, but I can accept you are good at this and you can do it. That's the stage, which I think we will come to that. I'm not in today's session, but we will dive into all the stage when we finish all the nice saboteur. I think at this point, what we like to do is to kind of highlight the behavior of each of the saboteur and how we see the similarity or maybe differences with each of the personality traits using these, and how that actually affect our authenticity, being true in ourselves, and how that affect our being inclusive of other people.
And therefore, for any business leader who cares about the results, how it also impacts the performance on the team and the results, even income. So that is first step of the self-awareness in a way, knowing, as a leader, do I have these characteristics? Should I be worried or careful about or aware first, right? Worried could be also hijacked by another saboteur. Should I be, is that something that I need to be aware of, that maybe this is my tendency to go a little bit far on the hyper-rational? And then in next sessions, we can talk actually when we go to the sage, what to do about it. Should we go to the next one?
Yes, we did. Let's talk about I a little bit. I'm just answering. John have a good question here, which is what we say. I'm the best group when there's diversity. I said, definitely, John. Big picture, detail, people and others. The challenge for leaders to keeping them all working with a control conflict, which is kind of appreciating the difference in each one and bring up their strength, which is why we talk about that diversity, which is why we're talking about the sage. Sage is not like, oh, I need to be all like that. I need to be in control, but able to let that flow come in. Lucie, anything else to add? If not, we will jump to our I, shall we?
Let's jump, just looking at the time here. And we can always go back to the questions at the end. We'll have a few minutes to answer. What do you think of that?
Yes. Okay. Let's go on top of our I first. Yeah. You want to talk about the I?
Let's talk about the I.
Yeah. So I share a similar traits with the D, as they're both more extrovert, or we call it active, big picture. But the difference between two of them is D is more task focused, very driven about work. I is very driven about people. All they care about
being liked, having fun.
Yeah, so their core is about being accepted, liked by people, which is quite different from D. D is about getting job done, very driven. I have a purpose, I have an intention.
They want to accomplish things.
Yeah,
they're worthy when they accomplish things.
Yeah.
The I is being worthy when they are liked, appreciated by others.
So I is not about accomplishing or not. It's about
like accomplishment is I'm liked.
Oh, I feel good. I need to be liked, then I feel good. But the thing is, because they are very extrovert in a sense, right? So they will look like a natural leader because they are more
energetic in a way.
Very energetic.
Can motivate, inspire. They can be great speakers. They love sharing stories.
Yeah. So if a person, okay, what we are giving you now, this characteristic, you must take note that there is, of course, there is a intensity level, right? Even your I normally is not a, normally most of us is not a pure one of the thing. There is a mixture, and on top of that, your intensity level is different. A person who's very high I will be like, oh, I just want to care about people, I want to talk about people, and then I stand on stage, I'll be so comfortable. I mean, this is quite extreme, but if you're lower, then it's still that you have other behavior that popping out that we are seeing, like
absolutely
your own confidence. Yeah. Shall we link this to our hyper rational? I don't think they're hyper rational people. They're not very rational. They can be trained to be rational because everyone is adaptable. So if you do it so far, you will see your core self. You will see yourself when you're under stress. What is that? Which characteristic is kind of executing? And when you are in an environment that require you to be whatever, you can be anything. Okay, so generally, I is not very rational. I don't think.
True. Yes, I think it's like the natural tendency. Like they don't want to think about the rational things. Just let's have fun. Let's enjoy. Let's share. So they're really great motivators. And you've mentioned like one important thing, when people are under stress, they can behave differently than their natural style. So even when and all of us have different things, and actually a great leader is somebody who can adapt to other people's styles and understand, and they can tweak their own style. So even somebody who is, let's say, very driven, very high on D, in order for them to be effective leader, they also need to be able to connect with people on emotional level. So kind of grow in that area, grow their self-awareness, awareness of others in a way to be more effective. So the person high on I, their growth could be, okay, I need to be also like realistic, focus on the data, listen to people that have the data, even though it's boring or kind of overwhelming them, but it's necessary for them to be effective as a leader.
Yeah.
What comes up?
I think what comes up is really about first knowing yourself, the awareness of my own natural or preference. I tend to slide, but also learn about what is the difference of other people and able to adapt. I think as a leader, if you don't adapt, not say change, but adapt to what is around an environment, you are not going to be the effective leader. If, for example, they are the people like our example, like scientists, they need a lot of details, and you're a big picture leader, and you say like, okay, I'm a big picture, you guys must do it, and then the scientist is like, huh, what? I mean, yeah, it's really like you want a team that is diverse, as what John have said. The best team is actually the one that's diverse, and when you have everyone that's different, how do you bring out the best in them and see them have their own strength in that sense?
So when we look at the hijack by the hyper-rational, by the I personality style, it could be their stress response. So maybe suddenly, like, it could explain the sudden change of behavior. It's like, oh my God, you're always so happy. What happened to you when you're so cold now? When they're just focused on, okay, laser focus on, we need to get this done. Don't worry about this right now. Let's not talk about feelings. Let's just focus. Don't talk to me.
Interesting, because like I say, when we talk about these, we always talk about the core and then the external environment where they adapt, right? So when they need to be rational, of course they can, but when they into their self or when they are stressed, we don't know how they react. But when in the environment that require them to be very rational, they can definitely do that. So we can all see this kind of people popping up. Yeah. And in terms of time, can I jump to S now?
Yeah, let's go to the one. Today we're very talkative, and we have some awesome questions too. So thank you, John and Ali for joining us.
I share a common trait, and that's people-centric. They both care about people, but the difference is S is more introvert, so which is kind of what we say supportive. They're more gentle, they are more supportive. They can say, I can take a back seat. The I is like, I must be in the limelight. Spotlights, I like spotlight. The S is like, no spotlight, please. You be in the front, I'm in the back end, do all the groundwork for you. I just want to support you. So to be supportive, they will do all the hard work, but they care about the people. Sound like an angel, huh? Okay.
Can turn into devils too.
You want to link the S and the hyper-rational or unlink them?
So maybe their natural style would not be very compatible with the hyper-rational, I would say. But the stress response could also go to the hyper-rational.
Yes, definitely.
Where they can seem very cold. And if they don't explain to other people what's happening, it can also have a damaging impact on the relationships or trust on the team.
So, I mean, similar thoughts. I think naturally the S is definitely not irrational because they care about people. Everything they do is about the people, right? They can move to that mode when they find that situation require me to. But I would say that if they are acting on that, because you've got a 4 quadrant in that DISC, so D and I is like extrovert, S and C is right at the bottom. So S and D is actually kind of right the opposite of each other. So to exhibit that behavior of a D, like very rational, very task oriented, I would say it's a very stressful for an S, because that's not their natural instinct, because their natural instinct is it's about people coming first, to be supportive to people, and they're a bit more quiet and reserved rather than, yes, let's get this done. they're like, yeah, we can do that.
Let's make sure everybody's feelings are okay now. Can we do it now?
Okay, we're going to jump to C. We have a minute past, and then we quickly answer the
Okay,
question.
C. Hyper-rational and C.
Yeah. I would see some similarity because C is also
Yeah.
task. The difference between the C and
the
I,
D.
they're both more introvert. They're more on the quiet side.
Yeah.
But the C's share a traits with D, which is task. They're very focused on task, less on people.
Mhm.
So I would see hyper-rational is more task than people as well. So there is that
Yeah.
similarity that I'm seeing.
So they might have the hyper-rational kind of hijacks in a way. When they go too far into analyzing everything, over-analyzing, they can get stuck in anxiety almost loop when they want to get everything correctly. And with the hyper-rational, analyzing even the relationships, doing the checklist. Or
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because I think C is very, the main things that C can go into a lot of detail, very analytical. So in that sense, being rational, have that kind of component or ability, strength as well. So they kind of share quite similar traits. Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we quickly look at Ali's question?
No, let's look at Ali's question.
Last one. What did he say? Ali was it? A natural leader is typically a person who possesses certain inherent qualities that inspire others to follow them. I'm very curious. This quality includes confidence, decisiveness, integrity, empathy, resilience, and ability to inspire and motivate others. Very interesting, Ali. You know what? I have a lot of conversation with clients, and I always ask them, because they talk about leadership, right? So I ask them, when you say leaders, so what kind of leaders? And I have to tell you that I'm very surprised. They all give me quite different answer. But a lot of time is based on what they see, and they feel that was an effective leadership, and they align to that style, and they feel that is a good leader, and to be a good leader, I must be like this. So one person will say that it's about building trust. One person say that it must be inspiring. That means, like a high eye, that, oh no, I can talk, I can have a speech, and then, oh, that's a good leader. And then one person say it could be a D traits. They're decisive, they're very driven, they know they have a vision. So everybody have a little bit of that view. Ali, I like your question. This is what you say. What could be a natural leader, this profile? I would say a natural leader, this profile will be a D and an I. Very simply, Lucie, if you want to disagree, okay, I just want to explain. The reason, because D and I is more active personality style. They kind of come forward. But the S and C is more a bit quiet, okay? Saying that, I will not say S or C will not be a good leader. It's all about, like what you say, you put a lot of quality there, right? Confidence, decisiveness, integrity, empathy, resilient, right? Inspiring, motivating others. So it's not whether you're a D or you're I or S or C. You need a little bit of everything to be
absolutely
that leader. But when you say natural, of course, I'll go to D and I, because they are more in a spotlight.
Outgoing.
In a spotlight, somebody in the backstage, who will you follow? Of course I follow somebody in the spotlight. I can't even see who is behind, how to follow. It's a little bit challenging in that sense. So people will see what they see in front of them.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So I answer the question. So Lucie, what you want to say?
Yeah, I would say it's about balance. So yes, a natural tendency, because they're outgoing, both D and I, they're more outward, outgoing. Naturally, they come to the spotlight. And each strength can also turn to the weakness when we take it too far. So they can actually really alienate the people. And so would there be does it guarantee that they will be a great leader? I think they need to be self-aware and also create, like, being adaptable with different styles. So kind of it comes to the balance, just like the the S and the C, can they be great leaders even though they are more on the introverted side? I would say if they are able to tap into their inner D and inner I and become more balanced, so in certain situations, they can still, bring up the strength of the detail of the emotion, but they're also being able to adapt and talk, be direct, be confident, be driven. I think it's about balancing it out. So it doesn't mean if our DISC profile and we say, well, I'm doomed, I'm this on DISC. I wouldn't say that we all evolve, and it's about learning. That's why we do these talks. So we are more self-aware and we know, okay, what is my growth in order for me to become a more effective leader? What do I need to be aware of, not to do? And what do I need to be aware? So what can I do better? So I don't have like a blind spots in a way. What comes up for you?
I'm totally with you. I think the thing about this is about, they call it personality traits. Traits means that is your behavior and your preference behavior. It does not dictate your success or failure in a sense. And I mean, today we see a lot of very good leaders are actually introvert. So it doesn't mean extrovert are better leader, introverts are not good leaders. It's not true at all. I think a lot of introverts are very good leader. But of course, they will have to overcome the internal challenges, and like they don't really want to go on the stage and in the spotlight because that's not their nature. They don't like it. But what I would say is, like I say, number one, know the awareness of what is really important to you. What are you seeking? So when you know your profile, it's not meant to put you into the bucket. Oh, I'm a D, I'm a R, I'm a S, whatever. But rather to kind of help you to say, okay, yeah, I know this. I have this natural preference of this. But now this is what is in my heart is important that I want to do. Having this natural preference, how can I build myself to have that, why I say the word balance, and then how I can develop, but that you do know that you have a preference. Just like, introvert, they do need a little bit of their time on their own to quiet time to recharge energy. So know that is what you need and go and have that. Rather than say, oh, I'm a leader now, I must be always be doing that and get yourself drained. So there is that knowing yourself, and when we know ourselves, how can we work better for ourselves and for the people around us? How can you lead better? I think that's what I would say.
I love that. And I would...
Before we wrap up, we are it's over, right? Okay.
Yeah, I wanted just to add, like, to know ourselves and to accept ourselves the way we are, kind of being authentically who we are, not to fight it, not to say, okay, I am, this is not good that I'm not extroverted, I need to be more extroverted, but knowing what is our natural tendency, accepting our limits in a way, accepting our strengths, something that we are not good at, and seeing, okay, where do I go from here? What is really important to me? And how can I grow in this area, versus coming from a judgment from the judge in a way, which is a master saboteur, and looking even at ourselves through the eyes of judgment. Oh, I should be better than this. I should do this. Versus what is the situation? What is my natural preference? What are my gifts? What are some things that, I'm not so gifted with, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think Ali has been so generous and summarized. He said,
thank you so much, Ali.
In one profile does not necessarily guarantee success or failure as a leader. It's a tool for raising self-awareness. I'm definitely with you, Ali. So whatever we do, like whether you do MBTI, you do these personality traits, or even others around, it's about raising your awareness, getting to know yourself better, and also getting to know others better. Especially this is very good for communication because it links a lot to our communication preference.
Oh, absolutely.
It's useful for that. So again, same thing, when we know our saboteur, what does that mean? So we know, and of course, for us, all of us who are PQ trained, we'll know that when I have a saboteur, where it's come from, what is happening, how can I intercept, how can I move into our sage? So it's all about having the awareness, and through only the awareness, then we can do something. If we don't know, we go to
there's no change possible, really. Yeah. So if you,
I like this, we are totally, completely, absolutely unique, and that's what our authenticity is. And when we are diverse and we are the best group, that's where we are inclusive.
I love that.
I think that kind of sum it up. And any more last word? I think we've been good. today.
I think so. Thank you so much, John and Ali, for joining us and for your awesome feedback and questions. Made it more fun for us. So thank you. And hopefully valuable for you as well. If any of you has any other question as you watch the replay, we can always come back and answer your questions after.
And we-
Anything else, Aries? And next time, who are we focusing on next week?
I think it's hypervigilant.
Ooh, hypervigilant.
Hypervigilant. I think next week is hypervigilant.
Yes, hypervigilant.
Yeah, exciting, huh?
Yeah,
All
I look
right.
forward to it.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you, Aries.
We'll see you all same time next week.
See you next week. Bye.